Hello, ladies, and a few good men, and welcome to this episode of the Autoimmune Rehab Podcast, where, as always, you can find and download show notes and listen to previous episodes and download those as well at autoimmunerehab.com. Now, no further ado, let's get started with today's topic, which is 3 ways to feel better immediately, the Hashimoto's edition. Now, I do want to add that this advice will probably be pretty beneficial if you're even struggling with things like chronic fatigue, adrenal fatigue. Maybe you have thyroid issues, but you don't necessarily have Hashimoto's. The point is that these are 3 of the best ways that I have found to start feeling better immediately and, feel like you can make it through your workday, whatever it is that you need to get done. And these things are obviously not a cure. These are not a substitute for traditional medical treatment. And these things are not necessarily going to address the root cause of what's going on. I have some other episodes with more details on that. These are just 3 fairly simple ideas that you should be able to do within a few minutes that I have found have really helped me when I, was just feeling like I was having a flare up or down in the dumps or whatever. So the first thing to do is to take some selenium as a supplement or to eat a few Brazil nuts. However, you want to be careful to not eat more than 3 or 4 in one day. There has been some studies and things that have started coming out about how eating too many Brazil nuts is actually causing a lot of people with Hashimoto's and thyroid issues problems. So you don't want to take too much. And I could cheat a little bit here and throw in and say that, selenium is typically the number one thing that can make you feel better immediately because a lot of us are deficient in it, but you may be deficient also in things like B12 or vitamin D. So potentially taking some of that might help as well. But I'm going to include those lumped together and number one. Okay, number 2 is to use an infrared light machine of some kind or infrared light panel, or to sit in an infrared sauna for 30 to 40 minutes. Now, I personally sit in an infrared sauna for every single day for about 30 to 40 minutes, and it has really had a big impact on me, on my energy level, on my well-being, all that kind of stuff. And I started out just going to a franchise here locally called Restore. You can look it up and see if it's in your area. They have locations all over the US and Canada. So they may be, or you can find one. Some chiropractic offices have them, some doctors' offices have them. They're a functional medicine doctor. Sometimes you can get one at a massage or a spa, wherever you can find one. If you don't have access to one, and you could just go try it out maybe once a week for a couple weeks, but it can start to get really expensive. So I do highly recommend that you buy one, and I will have the link to the one that I recommend in the show notes. And the one that I got was a little bit less expensive, an in-home sauna, portable sauna that I use that I really, really like. But if that's just out of your budget or you just don't have access, you can also consider some of these places, like I know Restore has infrared light panels as well. Those are a little bit less expensive. You can get a decent sized, high quality infrared light panel that you can just plug in, and for about 10 minutes, you put on some special glasses, you just kind of aim it so that it's not right at your thyroid, but it's pretty close to your thyroid and neck area, or if you're having pain in the knees or feet or wherever you're wanting to address. And you just turn on those infrared lights and it shines directly on you, and you can get a decent quality one for around $300. So that's definitely going to be a less costly expense. I can link to that one in the show notes as well. And then there also are infrared light lamps. I have one of those as well because I actually got that before the panel and before the sauna. So, I have all 3, and then I actually even have an infrared therapy wrap that I can use to wrap on my knees that I actually got back last year before I had my knee surgery when I was having all my problems. But so, I'm kind of overloaded on infrared light things in this house, and I don't necessarily recommend you go get all of those. I would say, start if you can afford it with either the lamp or the light panel. That's going to be a little bit more affordable option. And, you can't really use the infrared light therapy wrap on your neck and thyroid area, which you do really, with that kind of a thing, you really do need to address the actual area. So I would say, start with one of those and then move up to getting a sauna, which depending on which one you get, the one I got is only around $1,300. I got it on a Black Friday sale for around $1,100. Plus they threw in a few extra freebies like a water filter, a few other things like that. So, that was a pretty good deal. That's as far as cost goes, that's probably going to be the cheapest one you're going to find that is actually going to be enough high quality for your purposes and for what you want to consider. So, anyhow, getting that infrared light can really, really make you feel better pretty much immediately. I know at least it does for me. Then the next thing you can do is you can inhale or rub either directly like on the neck or thyroid area, or maybe even on your feet or wherever you feel like you want to put them the best, some peppermint essential oil, or you can try some lemongrass or myrrh or some other kind of a citrus oil. You do want to be really careful though, especially as I'm publishing this in the summer, that the citrus oils, can't go outside for about 12 hours after you put them on, like your neck or sun area, or any skin that's exposed to the sun, because it will burn you with the photosynthesis. So, if you're spending a lot of time outside in the summer, you're going to want to avoid putting citrus oils directly there. But peppermint, lemongrass, and myrrh should be fine. Lemongrass, a lot of people don't realize this is actually not a citrus oil, even though it has the word lemon in it. I actually have a whole YouTube video and blog post that I did that compares lemon to lemongrass. But anyhow, the point is lemongrass is not really a citrus, and you could even use a combination of those directly, like on your neck or thyroid area, or on the bottoms of your feet, or just kind of inhale some. If you don't have access to those, you could even try just smelling some regular mint and see what that does if that helps with the invigoration. Or, cut open a grapefruit or orange or lemon and just kind of smell it, or maybe make some lemon water, or orange, squeeze an orange into the water, grapefruit, that kind of thing. And you'll be surprised at what that will do for you. Mainly for me, what that helps with is it helps with just some rejuvenation, and just gives me a big energy boost and makes it so that I can focus, concentrate a little bit better. And ultimately, that makes me feel a little bit better. So let me review with you these three things in three ways to feel better immediately, the Hashimoto's edition. So number one, take some selenium or eat a few Brazil nuts, or, vitamin D, B12, whatever vitamin you feel like you might be deficient in. Use infrared light of some sort or an infrared sauna, and inhale or rub some essential oils. And some of the ones I recommend would be peppermint, lemongrass, myrrh, or a citrus oil. So I hope you found this information helpful. As always, the link to schedule a free call with me will be in the show notes. So if you want to talk with me about any of these things or anything else related to your health and well-being, let's have a chat. And if you found this episode helpful, I'd appreciate if you would rate it and or review it on iTunes or any of the other podcast platforms. Share it with anyone else. Thanks, take care, and I look forward to sharing with you soon on another episode of the Autoimmune Rehab Podcast.